Welcome back to our Scala to Spark class, and we are continuing refreshing our SQL knowledge. And let's review grouping and aggregation functions. In fact, we'll start with just regular aggregation functions. They don't have to be used by group by. Usually they are used with using group by operator, but not necessarily. And we'll need to do this review before we move on to windowing functions, which continue on this. On SQLite, there are only 6 built-in standard aggregation functions, aggregate functions, right? Again, so the idea is this. The whole idea is they take some, they operate on some rows and return single number, single result. Well, not necessarily a number. Could be a group concatenation, could be a string, right? But so usually you will use a group by operator. But let's start. The syntax is of course aggregate function, right? And then you specify what you want to do, and you could also do distinct, by the way, right? Default I think is all, right? So let's try using these functions, which we used them before, just build anything, right? Let's say we have our tracks, right? For example, we have invoices, right? Or we're opening up our Chinook, just a regular Chinook, as usual, and we have some invoices somewhere here, right here, right? And we could find, of course, the total here, right? So here, so select all from invoices, and we have all the invoices, right? And of course, so we can do this here, like we can do select total, select sum total from invoices, right? That would work. Yeah, that's total. We could do, of course, again, we could do count total, we could do mean total, max total, max, and I'll do this separately, like this, not like this, but maybe like this with slightly prettier, like this, right? Max total. So very simple things, right? So again, you don't have to necessarily use group by operator, right? And let's see, min, max, average, right? Let's do average in between, right? Average total, right? So again, I expect this to be 0.999, right? And maybe we'll see what the maximum total is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 different functions, right? And there we go. Total, count, there's 412 entries, right? Count is extremely commonly used. Again, we can use that. Remember, we can use count. Remember, we can use count to just count rows, you know, count rows, right? That's basically in effect here, because no filters, you're just saying count, right? And we do, so for example, if you want to count something, do something, you could do a subquery, right? Or do a view, right? You could do that, right? For example, if you wanted to do count how many values are under let's say some number, let's try this, right? We could do a subquery, for example, right? So if I select all from invoices, where invoices over, where invoice E, where total equals over 1, right? Or let's say 1.99. Yeah, there's some invoices, like quite a few of them. So how many do we have? Well, we have at least 200. Look at these invoices, right? So let's say 5.99, right? Right. We have some more expensive, some big ticket buyers. So how do we do? We could use it basically count, right? So select count. How many do we have? Right. And this should give us 123, right? So this gives 123. So there's 123 invoices. So we have, you know, I could do this here. Invoices over 5.99, right? And that would work, right? That also would work, right? So select count. We can use these aggregation functions aggregate functions, you know, to simply count, to work on the results on after filter as well, right? You could do that. Of course, I could do sum. Could I count total here, right? Would that work? Let's try it. So sum total, right? And again, let's do this here. And again, invoices, right? We'll do this, add it here, maybe after comma. Tab, right, comma. Something like this. Total, average, of course, will be higher, and so on, right? And min, max as well, right? Average, min, max as well. Min, total, and max total as well, right? So that covers, right? So these are the basic ones. Of course, we can think about some other ones, right? But for now, right? So sum is minimum is 6.84, right? Obviously, because all the songs are 99 cents, so after 5.99, right? Average 11, right? 25. So again, you can use them without grouping. You don't need to necessarily group. You can just filter, right? So it works to get some statistics, to get some idea on what's in your data set, right? So of course, so the difficulty arises, of course, when we use them with grouping, right? Sometimes there's a little confusion when we work with together with a grouping. So now, if we want to group by, well, a classical example here would be if we use them in conjunction with a group by operator. For example, we could do this, right? So we could group by, say, a invoice number, right? We could do group by total, right? We could do that, right? And so select all, right? So select total. We'll do this sum. Let's see. Can we do this actually? Let's see. Sum total will not work. Count total, right? All right. We could do this, right? From invoices, and group by total. Group by total, right? Let's see that. And what will happen? Yeah, so we see it groups. We could, of course, we just count. I mean, obviously, I could do sum as well. That's possible, right? Sum total would be also possible, right? Why? Because, of course, again, so for each subset, right, we will, you know, just sum them up. So it'll be like 54 bucks, something 54, something, and so on, right? You could do min. Of course, min and max here won't be much useful, or average also won't be useful, because in fact here, since I'm doing this aggregation on the same, but they are grouping the min max and min max will be min total, average total, they will be the same, right? Because we're actually using it, it will be kind of silly to use them, but they will be not useful because all grouped items are the same here, right? So it won't be very useful to get any information here. They'll be just same numbers, right? You see, 099, 099, 099, because they're all in the same group, right? So these three, and also possibly this, will want to use these, of course, on some other item in that group, right? So maybe what can we group by? We could group by, maybe let's check what could we group. What kind of columns can we group by here, right? So select all from invoices. We could group by billing, we can group by city, we can group by country, right? So we could group by country. That's classical example, right? We could group by country, right? So then it will make more sense to group by, use these more aggregate functions. So to get total, right? So select all from, again, I'll say select country, right? And count. Again, we can count anything, right? I can count. I could count you know, country, for example, or invoice ID, the same thing, right? Doesn't really matter. From invoices, group by country, right? Oh, not country. I didn't. What did I do? What did I do wrong? Billing country. Sorry, billing country. It's a billing country. Billing country. Right. So obviously you can use any of those other ones. State, billing country. I'll rename it country. Right. And then we can group it by this also, by renamed version, right? Yeah. So again, and now of course I can do sort, do everything, right? We have all the names, right? And we have group by, and that's just a count how many invoices we have. But now we can continue. Now if we're grouping by one, if we group by one column, right? We can perform the aggregate functions on other columns, right? So I could do let's say I could do let's see here, where is it? Let's see here. Okay, so I could do count, right? I could do total. Of course, total is the easiest one to work on, right? So I could do see how much sum total. So this will count how many. So summing all the sales for particular country. And then of course again mean total, smallest sale per country, right? Same thing, of course, average sale per country, and maximum, of course, also maximum sale by country. Again, so nothing too crazy, right? Biggest sale per country, right? So let's see what happens now, and it should work. Yes. So average, biggest and smallest, of course, is 99. Most countries, there's some India. Again, you don't have too many sales, but it started with 198, right? Smallest sale, right? Everything else minimum is this, and biggest sale is per country. Again, simple commands, but quite powerful. Of course, remember, if you don't like these numbers, I could do say average. I could do round average, comma, say 2, right? Yeah, and it might clean up a little bit the code, right? Okay. So that is the basics of aggregate functions. Again, the idea is that here, right, we do something. When we select, right, we can group by one column, and we can perform the aggregate on that column, or quite often we want to aggregate some other column, right? So let's see what happens if you do distinct, right? Only unique values in this calculation, right? Usually all is of course standard. So what happens if you do add distinct, right? Well, let's try this. I have not usually don't use this, right? But let's say so this will add some see, distinct. How was it? Syntax. Syntax is distinct inside. Okay, I think all is the given distinct total. Let's try this. So only unique totals are added, right? So this should be small. Yeah. So so unique, but again not. So of course here it's kind of silly. So Brazil, of course, we don't. I don't know why would you want to some distinct totals, because of course in this case in business case it doesn't make sense. So of course you can see big buyers like America, Canada, or Brazil, right? USA, right? The sum is huge, but of course the distinct sums are not that many, right? So you can use this distinct to only some specific unique values. Okay, so let's go over again everything, all the examples, right? Slowly, right? Again, one by one, right? So select average. So average example will be something like this. Select album ID. I think album ID, right? From tracks. Select all from tracks. let's say from tracks, let's try. Yeah, that's our good old friend tracks. And we want to see again the length. Again, let's go back to the length. How much is the average length, right? So we'll do this. Select album ID from tracks, right? Where, and of course, and we want to group by, right? Group from tracks, right? Group by tracks, right? Track, yeah, I guess, yeah. So from tracks, group by album ID, and of course, we'll basically this would function as a album ID. We'll get unique album IDs, of course, here, right? But you want to see, probably want to do round. For example, we can do average, milliseconds, right? Milliseconds there, right? And we remember that from our previous exercise that you want to probably divide this by 60,000, right? Right. And I made a mistake here. A comma here's missing comma. Yeah. So average album length, that's minutes, right? That's in minutes. It's in minutes. Minutes. Average in minutes. Minutes, right? Average minutes. Okay, that's great. They don't like these big names. I'm gonna use the same trick. We use round here, right? We can do round up and round, and we can do say two digits after comma. Okay, and it works. So again, so we selected by each album, we group the songs by album again, because remember we could do average song length here too, right? How much is the average song in general, right? That would also work, right? Yeah, divided by 60,000, and we'll do okay. So right, select all. Of course, when we deselect here, this is useless because we got the first row, right? And then again, so that's one of the challenges with SQL. Sometimes you get rows, sometimes you get a single value. So since here this gives you a single value, the aggregate function, you don't get any more rows, right? So that's a little, you're kind of doing, I don't know, apples and potatoes together. I don't know. It's not, it doesn't go together very well right here. So you want probably this, right? And we probably want round and comma 2, right? Again, simple. Thing is, now I get asked about custom functions. Unfortunately, SQLite directly does not let you define custom functions, right, for aggregation, right? Unlike, you know, something in Scala or some more SQL language like SQL Server has them, Postgres has them, I think MariaDB also has them. SQLite doesn't have custom aggregate functions. Well, you can define them, but you have to use another programming language actually. So it's a little bit tricky. So that's not really something you probably don't want to do it in SQLite. You probably, if you need aggregate functions for custom ones, you will probably want to use a different database, different SQL implementation, basically, right? But I heard good things about SQLite Studio. You can do it. You can sort of fake them, basically. But okay, let's continue with our average. Right, average in minutes, right? So let's run this here, right? And maybe get in minutes, right? So if I do 0, yeah, we can see. Of course, we can sort by, right? Order by, or order by average minutes descending. Yeah, 48 minutes, right? Album ID, right? There's some really short albums apparently. Suspicious of those albums. So we sure would like to know the names, right? Here actually see Battlestar Classic, right? So this is average track. It's not a song. So it's actually average. It's the songs on this. So it means this only has probably one track. So usually, of course, this is more normal, right? These are more normal. The distribution. These are, you know, songs are usually short, right? They looks like Philip Glass, which has no song. This album list, there's something missing. Apparently, there's no songs at all on it. Okay, so we would like to know what this is. Of course, how do we do that? That's not part of aggregate, but we could do join. So if you want to do this, we can join it, but we do it before, right? So if you want to know what the album name is, if we want to know the album names, we do join, right? So I can do this, and I can do before grouping, right? Before grouping, join, and we've done this many times already, right? So a join on, a join, sorry, not VCC, but we join album. Come on. Oh, come on. On. Why didn't it say A, right? On. What it's called? Tracks T, so 3 album ID equals album A. Why doesn't pick up album ID? Again, it's not case sensitive. And will it work? And here, of course, I need to say T, right? Albums, I guess, right? Albums here, sorry, that's my problem. Yeah, I2, okay, yeah, A2, okay. Album ID, here we go, yeah, okay. So since we are joining, the problem is, of course, we need to say, okay, which one we group by. It doesn't really matter here, right? But, yeah, okay. And now let's get the album name, right? And we can do the album name. And well, we're gonna get the first one, right? It should be the same. Again, if you're grouping by album ID, you expect that this actually would be the same. We could do something silly. We could concatenate the titles, right? But let's try that. We could do this. We could do, let's say, name T, not T, but A2 name. Come on. And where is my from tracks? Here you go. Sorry, average minutes. This here. Join. And comma. And join. Let's see. A2. Now it picks up. No, it doesn't still pick up. So what's happening here? Add to name. I think it's name. Why not working? But let's see. Album name. Right. Let's run it again. T album ID. What's going on here? A2 name again. Let me check my table. Title, sorry, title. You see, it's not picking up. That's why it's not picking up, because I was not typing correctly. Yeah, title, of course, title. Thank you. Again, not for nothing. So, yeah, so these long ones are really from Battlestar Galactica. This looks like. So let's see how many songs are on that album, right? If they're so long, right? We can do songs count, album ID, T album ID, of course, right? Song count. Right, there's 24. So this is actually single song, but it's a collection. It looks like it's you read like, I don't know, it's a radio drama and so on. We could of course go again. This looks like Well Lost, of course, a TV show. So we know this is again going deeper, right? We see how these these albums are represented. Okay, so let's do something silly. Let's use one of the rarer functions. I mean, we could do average, right? We have the round average, right? And we could do, of course, maximum, minimum. We could do all of that, right? Milliseconds on it. We could have tracks have names, right? Remember, we have select all from tracks, right? As we know very well, right? Name, right? T name. So, well, we could do this, right? If I did here, T track, this will be just the first track, right? Right, so this won't a track ID actually, sorry, a track name, type name, yeah, name, right? So but if you want to put all, we could do something silly, right? Songs, right? There's something. I have only one song. Santana likes to play really long songs. But if you want to put all the songs together, right? We could do. There is a group concatenation function, right? Let's try this, right? And we'll do a separator. So let's try this. If you do all tracks together, so we could do something. It's like a join function. So we could do this group concat, right? And we could do, let's see, t name, I believe, right? T name, and let's do maybe, I don't know, comma. Let's do comma, right? Or I think you need to do this. Let's try this. Let's try this. All songs, right? Well, it's kind of silly, but let's see if this works. Yeah, it works, and it is silly, right? Tale of Two Cities, but comma. Well, yeah. So you have all the songs. And it's big. I don't know how big is its name. It's Lost, Premiere, and so on. Yeah, but I wonder if it's limited. I wonder. There's only, let's see, you have 17 songs, so you should have a big. It's not going as far as I thought. Let's say The Office season 1. Okay, right. One. I think it's cutting off, right? The group Concat. Final Concert, Space Tracking, Echo Santana. He has 8 songs. And we have Jingo, Corazon Mandela. Oh no, he has all of them. They're all here. Actually, full result. Notice also with this group concatenation function, right? That we are so similar to join. You know, make string, right, in Scala, right? Kind of similar, right? The last after a comma, you don't have it anything afterwards. Okay, so that's a group concatenation example. Okay, well, again, so rest of them, we'll go through all of the rest of them just to see what else. We had average, we can do fill count, we've done it, right, again, so we can do select how many songs. I mean, this is the easiest one, right, from all here. By now you should be able to do this in your sleep, right? 3500, right? So we could do, right? So like I do it here. Here, count album song count, right? I can use that to get by track count. We can order by group by album ID, and we can see how many songs are on each album, right? So song count. We can order by average minutes, but we can order also. We could order this by average order by song count, right? Descending. Which one is the most songs? Yeah, 57 greatest hits, right? And these are short, of course, right? Greatest hits. By whom? We don't know, right? Right. So, so the Office 303 is really hilarious. Yes, and so on. We see how we can order again. So this, of course, not part of aggregate functions. It's just showing you how we can order by. Right. So some again, we can again to calculate all of the calculate all the songs length. We do select album length. We would use sum on milliseconds, right? Group by album ID. And again, it should be something like this. Select album ID and from tracks, right? Right, so that's all of them, right? But we want to group by, right? So we do group by tracks. Not tracks, but album ID. Yeah. So and of course it's like for now we just have distinct albums, right? Album IDs, we know what they are, but we would like to get the some milliseconds, right? And divided by 60,000, right? This will be minutes. Album lane minutes, right? Oops, something milliseconds. Yeah, so length in minutes, 40 minutes, 5 minutes, and okay, we could probably also order by longest album. So I think we tried this before. Album length, minutes, descending, right? Like this, right? And we have this again. And if you need now the name of the album, right, you will want to create this. We can see, of course, see here Lost Season 3. This is really long, right? We can again do joins if you wanted to. If you wanted to find the actual album name, you would do the join on the above with albums table, right? Okay, so that works some. What else we have? Max, of course, max. Again, longest. We could do also what's the longest track in general. Well, we could of course do order by, right? That's also a possibility. I mean, so this is not really that useful. So select max milliseconds from divide 60,000 means and from tracks. And this works 88 minutes really. So of course, but of course this is not really, what is it, right? You can't do just this max, we can't pick it up, right? You have to order by and get the first, right? Limit 1, right? That'd be easier, right? Be easier to order by, but you can do min, of course, also, all right? How could we do, yeah, so question is, how do we find all tracks which are the longest? We could do a subquery. We could use a subquery to find the longest tracks, right? That's one of the ways we could do it. We could do this, right? So select select max from tracks, right? So if we know this could be our subquery, this value 88, right? We'll use that as a subquery. So select all from tracks, right? Where, and I think we did this in our quiz, I mean in our exercise, like when we did our original something similar, milliseconds, right, equals, and now it's time for the subquery, right? We do a subquery here, and we need, because this gives you the number, so we enter this here, and no need for, actually, yeah, so we don't need this here, like this, right? I like to space it, right? And we'll end it here, right? Order by, so it should give you all the tracks. Oh, nothing? What happened here? Ah, right. Right, because we don't need this, doesn't work, right? We don't need this, right? Sorry. So, only one song, right? Only one song, right? And again, we could find, this is long, it's like from some TV show, it's a, but again, a Battlestar Galactic, again. Right, so similarly, we could find the minimum, which maybe will be 0, right? We'll go to minimum, which will be exactly the same, right? We can just copy, right? Very similar idea. Min, right? Find all. On, yeah, this is really short, but that's 1 second song. It looks like some introduction to a song, right? Is this, yeah, some sort of samba album, right? Again, to get this this value. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do group concatenation, right? So. Can we do all, right, if we do, let's see if we do this, select all from tracks, right, and we have, let's say we know a specific album we want, let's say album ID equals, I want to see what this album is, album ID is 200, right, yeah, cancel. Okay, right? So this is a composer, right? We have the songs, right? So again we could do it. I think comma is automatic. Let's try this. So we could now we can use group concatenate, group concat to basically to have a it's going to be comma separated list of track names, right? Let's try it. So select group concat on name from tracks where album ID equals or 200, right? Yes, you see it's actually automatically, so this comma is the default, right? So if I did this, if I did something silly, I could do something like, I don't know, maybe like this. No, something like, I don't know, I don't know, something silly like this, right? It should also work. Let's try this. Yeah, you see, it worked, right? Kind of silly. So this, I could do whatever I want here, right? Three stars, something doesn't matter. I could do anything here, right? As a separator, right? Separator works. Okay, so we learned all the aggregation functions. What can we do with it? Let's do some exercises, right? So let's do some exercises, and I have couple in mind, some easy ones, right? To get started before we move on to window functions, right? Again, which are slightly harder, but not that crazy, right? So what they want to do? Let's see. Right, so let's find out. So task one, which countries have the most invoices, right? Right, and order by invoice count, right? I think we did something very similar, right? Did we do this somewhere here, right? So this is actually, I think we did this here already. So this is almost exactly the same. So let's not do billing count. So let's do which well, I guess we'll do which city has the most invoice. That's easier, right, for you. That's easy. How about this? To do two, to do one. So easy solution. So this will be really, I think, good for Friday night. It should be sufficient. So which city has the best customers? Best customers, meaning this means we want to have well, which cities has the best customers? We want to have a list, an ordered list of 5 best cities with highest sum of totals, right? Easy to do, right? And also, I think we did this before, but again, review is find the biggest 3 spenders, right? Right, spenders. And this will be, remember, again, review, right? The biggest 3 spenders, right? We want, so this will involve, this might involve joins, grouping, right? Again, biggest 3 spenders. We want, again, right, grouping, joining customers, on invoice items, right? This might be a little bit hard, right? And then using group by, and then sum on sum total, right? On group totals, right? So shouldn't be too hard, right? I want to know who the three best customers, right? Probably the best customers, right? Right. On let's do. We probably have. Let's try this one more. I think. Right. Oh yeah. Let's find again. Let's find to do for find, and this will be easy, but I think not too hard. Find all listeners to classical music, right? Include their names and emails and phone numbers, right? Okay, so this is not aggregate. This might not need aggregation. Okay, so 4 tasks, not too hard, right? But nothing too, this one is easy because we already did this in the class. And this is slightly similar, this is also similar, and this is slightly more with joins, practicing some joins. Okay, so we have 4 tasks, and we'll take a look tomorrow in the morning. We'll take a look at these solutions. Nothing too hard, but I think you can do this, right? Okay, so see you all tomorrow.